Here with reaction, the author of the upcoming book, Do What You Said You'd Do, Fighting for Freedom in the Washington Swamp, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, who should be running for Senate, but he won't listen to me, and former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. We'll get to you in a second, but Mark Meadows, this legal group with Stephen Miller, that's your group.
Well, it is. Stephen's doing a great job, and it's not surprising that the left is already saying he's the worst individual in America because he's actually taking it to them and holding the Biden administration accountable. But somebody needs to hold him accountable because he is missing in action, and Joe Biden in his leadership style is Mr. Appeasement across the board.
Last night, I mentioned that I guess the Reagan Library, Peggy Noon is hosting some event, a time for choosing for the Republican Party, Jim Jordan. Well, I don't know. I haven't changed my agenda. It's the Make America Great agenda. It's the America First agenda. That's the agenda that worked so well for Donald Trump in his first 3 years prior to the pandemic. I believe would work again. What does Peggy need to choose? What, she wants to eliminate any and all conservatives from the party? Is that what they're choosing?
No, and it's also an American strength agenda so that we project strength around the world, not this weakness that our enemies see. You've talked about what took place in Anchorage 2 months ago, where the treatment that Secretary Blinken received from his Chinese counterpart, that would never happen to Mike Pompeo in a Trump administration. And then you put everything with it, Sean, the lack of respect from our adversaries, coupled with the crisis on the border, with inflation. Sean, lumber's up, aluminum's up, steel's up, the price of gas, the price of eggs, the price of milk, the price of everything you can think of, the price is up. Americans sense that. And then they also see just the chaos surrounding Biden. And they also understand that their taxes are going to go up and more spending is coming. That's what they fear. So let's get back to America First and projecting strength to around the world to our adversaries.
Well, I've been saying it every night. I won't repeat the list. It only takes me a minute, Mark Meadows. It's not that complicated because it's also everything I believe for 33 years in radio and have expressed and tried to articulate. But why is there any debate whatsoever? Because it seems like the establishment rhinos that, let's see, didn't have a plan to actually repeal and replace Obamacare, which I know you know very intimately all the details of. They weren't ready for Donald Trump to go along with him when the moment came when it wasn't a show vote anymore.
Well, listen, they're talking about it's a time for choosing. The American people have already chosen, and they showed up in unbelievable volumes that said what we want is a president who will keep America first. Joe Biden is America last. We don't have to look any further than the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline, and then what do they do for Russia? They take off the sanctions so that they can finish their pipeline. We see, not surprisingly today, that the Palestinians actually referred to Secretary Blinken as Secretary Clinton. Well, that's because they're reverting back to a Clinton way of doing business. And what did they get? What did the Biden administration do? 2,000 rockets into Israel. And what did they get in return? They get all kinds of concessions from the Biden administration. That's not leadership. It's time that we revert back to what works, and that is peace through strength, a boldness that President Donald Trump brought to the American people.
Okay, Jim Jordan, both of you are close to the former president. Is Donald Trump running for president? Jim Jordan, we give it to you first.
Yeah, I think he is. Every time I speak to him, he says that he wants to run. He plans to run, I think, but he hasn't fully committed to that yet. But I certainly hope he does, because no president has done more of what he said he would do than President Trump. Best president I think we've ever had, keeping his word, doing what he said, doing what he was elected to do. That's the kind of individual we need in the White House. And that's the kind of individual that our adversaries respected because they knew he was putting America's interests first and standing strong for the principles that matter.
Last word, Mark Meadows.
Yeah, listen, Sean, when he came down that escalator, the left has been going after him, attack after attack after attack, from Russia hoax to impeachment. Now we're even still seeing it in New York City. Here's what I will say is the American people want him to run. I believe he'll run. And at the end of the day, it's a time for choosing, and the American people will choose Donald Trump.